Okay, so once again, just to catch up, I forgot to tape this. So all we're going to do when we're evaluating, value means number, we're plugging in numbers. So in this first example that we're going to look at, number 7, if we're evaluating this expression, given these values of the variables, all we're doing is plugging in and then simplifying. So we get 3 times negative 4 squared over the quantity 8 plus 12. So what is negative 4 squared? 16. Okay, what is this? What if I did something like this? 3 minus 4 squared. Be 3 minus 16, wouldn't it? Right? This one down here, it's 3 times positive 16. Here's the moral of that story. I know you've been told this a million times, but if you want to square a negative number, like for example, negative 4 squared, you know is positive 16. How would I have to enter that on a calculator? Like if I do, does this look good? I just want to make this point. It's kind of just out of the blue, but it's an important point. Like if I do, for example, negative 4 squared, what's the calculator going to tell me? 16? So everybody, raise your hand if you say 16. Nope.
Oh, no.
How come?
Because it's not.
You're right. You're right. See, that's not, what I said right there is not what you thought I said. Negative 4 squared. You thought I meant negative 4 times negative 4. That's not what I did. The way I wrote that on the calculator, I wrote that as 4 squared times negative 1 by order of operations. Everybody agree?
Yeah.
Because you have to do the exponent first and then multiply by the coefficient of negative 1, right? So if I actually want to do the number negative 4 squared, I've got to put it in parentheses. There you go. Okay? So moral of the story, if you ever want to square a negative number on any calculator, you got to put it in parentheses. Calculators are smart. They know order of operations. Okay, so then we end up with, you already told me on the top we get 3 times 16, which is what? 48. Whoops, I'll do that kind of thing about once a day. So 48 divided by 8 plus 12 is 20. So there's an answer. Now I have to just simplify. So what's a number I could divide into both?
2.
2. 4 is even a little bigger. Let's do 4. 4 goes into 48, 12 times? Goes into 25 times. And then now can't reduce that anymore, can we? There are no common factors of 5 and 12. So that's our answer. 12 and 5. No big deal, right? Okay, the only other issue I want to just take a very, very quick look at is simplifying expressions where we have variables in addition to numbers, right? So let's pick the hardest one, like let's pick number 20. And this still isn't very hard, let's see. Okay, what can I do there? If I follow, I'm going to try to simplify it, right? So I want to follow order of operations. Are there any parentheses? Yeah, there are. There's 2 pairs of parentheses, right? 2 sets of parentheses. So the first one, let's look at this guy. We have the quantity 2x plus y. Well, what P means in order of operations is simplify everything inside the parentheses, correct? So can I do anything with 2x plus y?
No.
I can't add them up. How come?
Because they're different.
They have different variables. What do we call that? They're not like terms. Good, they're not like terms. So they're unlike terms. Very nice. Okay, we can only add up things that are like terms. And like terms are determined, if we're talking about variables like we are, like terms are determined by the variable, aren't they? There's some other kinds of like terms that don't have variables, like radicals and things, but we'll deal with that later. I'm not going to muddy the waters with that right now. So I can't add those up because they're different variables, right? If they were the same variables, like what if I had 2x plus 3x?
You'd add them together.
I'd add them together and get what?
5x.
5x. What if I had 2x plus 3x squared?
You could not
I could not, because even though they're both x's, they're different powers of the variables now. And everything about the variables has to be the same in terms if they're like terms, right? Okay? Good, so then what would we do with this guy? If we want to finish this one up.
Okay, you need to distribute?
Good, we're gonna, so we can't, there's no parentheses, we can cross that one off. There's nothing to do there, because in both sets of parentheses, neither one has like terms to add up, correct? Exponents, there are no exponents. Multiplication and division, okay, good. So now what does multiplication mean here? I want you to, everybody focus on this for a second. So this, let's look at this first term up here, and there are two terms. There's only, here's the subtraction sign that connects this big term at the beginning to this big term at the end, right? There's a lot of stuff going on up here, but when all the dust settles, it's just one thing that's being subtracted, or this is being subtracted from this, right? The number of terms, and I'll say this again, but I want to get this out there now. The number of terms refers to the number of things that are being added or subtracted. So in math, terms mean things that are added or subtracted, okay? In this first term, how many things are being multiplied? 2. There's actually only 2. There's -8. I'll put a box around each one. So here's the first thing that's being multiplied, and there's the second thing that's being multiplied. You might think, well, that second thing looks like more than one thing. No, it's in parentheses. So when it's in parentheses, we treat it as one group of stuff, right? So it's one thing. We get -8 times the quantity, 2x plus y. So we're multiplying two things together, but you guys know how to do that. You've already said it. How do we multiply two things when one of the things is a quantity or group? We distribute. Okay, so we'll distribute the -8, and what do we get?
-16x plus -8y.
Okay, so plus -8y, I could just write as -8y, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Right. What about if I distribute, now, what do you do here? So we could distribute the 3 and then subtract everything, but it's easier just to distribute the -3. Everybody see that? Okay. So if I distribute the -3, what's that going to give me?
Plus 15x.
Okay, so plus 15x plus 6y.
Or negative, or yeah, 6y.
Okay, negative times negative, good.
Yeah.
And now all we have to do is add up like terms, right? So if we add up the like terms, we get the x is -16x plus 15x, -x. We don't put the 1 there, do we? Right? And -8y plus 6y. That's it. Okay. All right. So doing this when you're going through the stuff that in class today. Remember, you got all the paper stuff to do, but I want you to at least get started on the first rule of sign. It's under the section 1-2. I think it's the last thing in the 1.2 section. Keep in mind though that this problem number 5. These are about 10-year-old problems. I haven't used them in forever. Number 5 is misbehaving very. I'll fix it. I just haven't had time today to fix it. Very infrequently, so it's unlikely it's going to happen to you, but on the number 5 problem, out of 6 on Moodle, if you get in the original problem, if there's a decimal number that shows up, you know that it malfunctioned. And all you got to do in that case is just put in a bogus answer, get it wrong, and hit reattempt. Load a new problem up until you get one that doesn't have a decimal. That make sense? That kind of thing will rarely ever happen, but it did on this assignment. So. All right, have at it. If you're having trouble with Moodle or you don't have your account set up, come up right now and we'll get you going. Yes. Say it again?
Do I need to bring this?
Yeah, bring it on up. We'll get you going. Okay, let's get you going, both of you. Okay, so first of all, you logged in on this. Get logged in on the Chromebook. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you're going to go to this place. Okay, so everybody take a picture of that, why don't you, on the screen when you get a chance. Bookmark it on your Google account, all that good stuff, but that's the place you're going to go to Moodle. Every time, okay?
Okay, so now log in there with your regular, yours working okay?
Yeah, I got
Okay, good. So log in there with your, the same way you'd log in on like a regular, not a Chromebook, but another school computer. So it'd be your student ID by itself, and then your password, yeah. And then log in and then hang tight here, I'll get you in.